Okay, this is how we are going to lubricate and service this machine. Now, this particular machine has done a ton of miles. This is a serious workhorse. This is a Singer, and it's probably a '02 model, and 2002. And I have done a lot of miles with this machine. My big straight liner is my straight stuff, and then I usually use this for my trim out machine for my zigzags and things that I need. And it's been a really incredible machine. But I oil them regularly. The only thing is that you've got to clean them out sometimes. So I have taken everything apart and cleaned it with a toothbrush and a little tiny screwdriver. You can use an ice pick or some engine picks. You can get them pretty cheap over at Harbor Freight. But what you want to do is, see if we can get on in here. I got my octopus guide today. Okay, now you turn the crank. See this? That you'll turn, and then watch what moves. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in here, back behind here, and see if I can get a couple drops on there. And with this oil with a big long tube on it. There it is. And then what you want to do is you want to dab it because you don't want any of this to drop on the belt or anything. Or any other spots you don't want it on. Okay. Okay, here's another moving part right here. This one right here moves, so I'm going to oil it. Let's see. I'll oil it right here and in here, but right on top because gravity pulls it down. Just a drop. That's all you need. Because what happens is when you start oiling a lot, it'll start staining the machine as it just kind of sits there. It'll turn it colors like this. That's a lot of oiling. Okay, so let's see if we can see anything else here. Clean stuff off this belt. Okay. Okay, it moves a little bit right here. So I am going to put a touch of oil right there. Okay. Now turn the crank here a little bit. Looks like there's some goop there I missed. Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna flip this over. It's a glass top stove, so I have to be really careful. I have it sitting on a chopping board. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see, I can get a little bit right there. Behind that gear. I gotta make sure that it doesn't get on the bell. Okay. So that looks like the only moving stuff right there. Now we'll look on here. Let's see what we've got. Right down in here. Okay. Try a little bit more there. Just try to do just a drop. Then turn it. Okay, I'm gonna watch for some other parts here. Now, I have a different grease I want to use for my gears. The same stuff I use on my mixer. Okay, now there's a cleaning part which would probably be better to access on the other side. Okay, now I'm gonna get all these joints here. All the little joints. And the old grease that was in there had hardened. It turned like white. It was white chunks. Get some of these moving parts here. Turn it. And get some of these moving parts here. One there. One there. One there. I'll go right in here. Where that big bar turns in there. Drop a drop in there. Okay. Now. This machine's all metal. But this machine new was $400 at Walmart. It was the most expensive machine. But what I look for in machines, I usually use Singers because their motors are so much better. If you're doing a lot of tons of sewing, if you're not doing tons and tons of sewing commercially like I do, then, I mean, anything could be good for you. But I can burn up a motor in 3 weeks flat on a homemaker machine like this. Okay, let's see what we got here. So, the key is to keep them clean, oiled, and check the timing. I'm not a fan of sending a machine to a shop to be repaired because it's gross expensive. Okay, I'm going to start going in here. Get one over here. And those gears, I'm going to have to use my other grease. Okay, let me get that one in there. that really needs a special grease, but I will use this. I'll use a special grease on the other. Okay. Smooth that out a little bit. Okay. Put a dab on this little moving part. Just want one drop. Okay. I'll work these parts around. See what moves. I think I'll grease that a touch right there. Just a drop. Because it leaks down in the machine and it stains it. And then when you get so much in there, start dripping out the bottom. That looks pretty good so far. Okay, let me go to here. Let's see if we can get a cool view here. It's hard to hold the camera. Oops. Ugh, it's a brand new octopus and it is stiff. Yes, I put some of that oil in here too. Okay. Ugh. Okay, let's see. Okay. I need some of that gear back there. This bottle is actually a really great thing because I can get in there. It's kind of a balancing act because the thing's real flexible. But I just want like one drop. Okay. I need a drop on this thing back here. Boy, it just goes right in there. I got to tell you. Okay, now this turns, so let me get a little on top of this. It really helps improvement of the sewing of the machine by doing this. Really, really, really it does. And it will really make it last a long time. If you don't sew on it a lot, you really need to be doing this. As soon as you take the machine out. If I haven't sewed in a couple months, I will automatically oil the machine no matter how much stock I run through it. I need a little bit here. A little bit down here. This is real important for the needle. Okay. Let me get. How am I going to get this other piece? I need to get up here on this one right here. This one right in here. That little white plastic one. I need to get that joint. So tilt it back. There. Okay. And to make sure you get, adjust this down. Make sure that you get this really wet and this really wet, because, and once you have it all clean, it'll be fine. Go up and down with this. Let's run this. Try to get all that oil down there. It's a really loud FedEx truck. Okay. That looks pretty good. Ugh. I'm looking down the top down here to see if there's anything that I have missed. There's a little spring arm right there. I'll do a dab over the top there. Okay, there needs to be a little bit right there on this spring. Oh, that works so much better. Wow. Okay, that's real nice. There's a little piece right there. That's pretty good there. Could use a little bit right here. Okay. And they make these really cool. Oh, this octopus is so stiff. They make these really cool LED bulbs now, and they're really bright. The thing you really got to watch with your bulbs is, especially when you're oiling, is you'll have to wipe that off with alcohol. You can leave it in there. Just wipe the bulb off with an alcohol paper towel and let it dry sufficiently. Take a couple minutes. And that way you don't have any greases on it, because they blow out. Any bulb will blow out with fingerprint grease on it. Okay, and let's see. I think I'll put a little bit in this back of this adjuster for the thread tension. Now, when you first test run it, your thread might get dirty for a little bit, because you're gonna run off some of that excess oil if you, especially if you put too much in one spot. This bottle makes little noises. It's so funny. Okay. Now, I want to have a look at the shuttle casing. I'll try to grease this shuttle casing. See, that's the pickup for your thread. I'll try to grease that. If I can, by the back. Okay. Pickup for the foot, because I'm in a real good spot right here to do it in. Okay. And then we try to grease this shuttle. You're going to go down here. If I can get to it with the camera. Okay. You see this turns around. You take a toothbrush while you're turning it and go in here and down here to get a lot of the lint and stuff out. Because it's horrible when it gets clogged up. And you'll oil that snap thing. And then I'm going to oil this casing. So let me do this snap dealy. Yeah. Let's see if I can get right in here. Shoot that into that casing. Might get it right here. Just see if you can see everything that moves. And try to get it dab of oil on there. I'm going to hurry up, like shoot tons of it in, but it just dirties up the bottom of the machine. It all drips to the bottom. And then sometimes it drips on other parts you don't want it to drip on. And then they don't work real good for a little while. Make sure this needle thing is running good. I even grease my bobbin carriers. Get a little Q-tip for this over here. I do a lot of metallic fabrics too, and sequiny stuff. And that stuff will really jack your machine up. It gets caught in the belts and it'll cut them and it clogs stuff up. And so you really gotta keep it clean because those fabrics are just horrible on a machine like this. I mean, you want to step up to a commercial machine. You're talking like $5 grand or better. The table is really the most expensive part, not the head, but the darn table. See, there's a bunch of stuff just came out of there. It's metallic fabrics. I don't sew with metallic thread. I've done it, but I don't do a lot of that. As these machines, these little homemaker machines, they're just real fussy. They don't like to sew different kinds of threads. They're really horrible. My big commercial would just use just about anything. Look, I missed some stuff, man. I spent hours cleaning this yesterday. I mean, hours. But I've never stripped this all the way down, this machine. I've gone in and oiled it and stuff, but I've never gone completely through it and stripped it totally down. And it sure needs it. It's a serious workhorse. I like this machine. I wonder if this shuttle's on time. Ooh. Let's see if I can get in here. You look for the shuttle to be on time for the pickup on the thread. This one's just a touch, I think just a hair off. But I'm not going to adjust it because I think it'll be all right. I'm not going to sweat that one real big. But some of them get so far off. A lot of times if somebody puts a new belt on them or a belt gets old and you haven't sewed on it in years, they the timing will go out and it won't stitch the stitches. They won't join together. It won't. It doesn't look right when you're sewing over it. It's like just like maybe the top thread won't do anything, and then the bottom thread's putting loops in the fabric. But they have to join together to make it sew together. And when I sew, it's like fusion, welding. I make sure that stuff's not going to fall apart. My stuff doesn't come back because I know how to sew. I went to school for it and everything else, so make sure I got this thing cleaned out. Might have missed it. And don't leave any cotton behind off that Q-tip. I'm thinking there's some stuff in here. Sure is. Okay, this is the grabber for your fabric. And when it gets a bunch of stuff in it, then what happens is it won't grab the fabric and pull it through. If you have ever worked a machine that you have to about pull the fabric through, it's because the grabber, these little feet down here, this little thing, these little alligator dudes, they're not pulling the fabric through because there's junk loaded up in the actual unit. See, there's a lot of stuff there. See? So make sure these are clear back here. Otherwise, you'll unscrew that, take it out, lose one of the screws, and come to the conclusion that there's some pieces right there. Let me see if I can get this closer for you. Okay, see this? This unit, just all one piece. Way in the back, there's the other two little pieces. And there's a groove in there. And when fabric and stuff gets caught in there, the little lints and stuff, it won't mate up to the fabric right, so it doesn't really pull it through the machine. So you just want to make sure to get that cleaned out. And you can use a toothbrush. You can do it like that, or you can take the foot off and then use a toothbrush over the top of it, which is really quicker. Okay, I think we got it. Let's turn this around and see if we caught any goo-goo bug in there. A little something left over right there. I could see it floating. But get out as much as you can. I'm telling you. It will save you so much trouble later. Because it does build up. And it will ruin the operation of your machine. Things just won't be going right. Especially these little sequin and glitters. They're terrible. They're really bad things to a sewing machine like this. An industrial one is not as bad, but these are real nitpicky. Make sure your grooves are clean. All these grooves back here. This here. This plate can be popped off, but I'm not going to. Because it's real fun to try to figure out how to get it back on. It's a total argument. Get your grooves all clean in here. Actually, it sounds really good so far. I'm going to put a drop right here. On this needle lift. Another drop right there, so make sure I got it all in. Okay. I think I'm going to go right back in here again and put another drop right down that wall because it's looking dry. Put some more in there. I oiled the thing one time. I think it was this daily here. I think I squirted a bunch of oil all through there, and the thing just wouldn't even sew. I had to run it, because it was just slipping. I'm going to wipe this gear down a little bit. Get these away. But every little bit you can get out of there, it truly makes a difference. That old grease, oh my gosh. It is gooey, crappy stuff. And especially if you're running a stitch thing, a design or pattern, or zigzag, that really needs to be super clean and greased right. And then the stitches will be just perfect. Some people grease over that old muck, but I'm going to tell you, when you do that, they think it loosens that grease up and all that. You're just leaving trash behind. So you really want to try to get it as clean as possible. See some of that white stuff that's left? Those little white flecks. Let's see if I can get to it. There's some right on this thing. It's that white stuff. That's that old grease. It just sits there. And when you open the thing up, you will see all that grease. Get the excess off.